Is the massive dumping over? Overall fear level is quite high. When everything's going wrong, you have Mr. Know-It-All, Peter Schiff, saying, I told you so. Hurry, sell your Bitcoin and buy gold. Of course, Peter Schiff would add on right now, add on to the fear, the FUD that's out there, right? Because he's been shitting on Bitcoin for a decade. Pardon my language, but you know what? This is how it is. This is how it is. When things are scary, when things are low, the naysayers come out and everyone goes on attack, right? Because they think Bitcoin and crypto is an easy target, right? But here's the thing. Here's the thing. We have seen this before, right? Bitcoin has seen this story before, okay? Bitcoin has been attacked before. The entire industry has been attacked before, okay? Even though the last day or so, and today just started and it could get worse, even though it has been pretty bad, let's not forget how bad 2022 was, okay? And those of you guys that's been in the game longer than that knows how bad 2018 was. And those that were in the game even earlier knows how bad 2014 was, and goes on and on and on and on, okay? Despite emotions being high and FUD levels being high, and now fear index showing we're fearful, right? Not all is lost. Not all is lost. We have seen worse. And let's not forget that nothing fundamentally changed. Okay, that's the important thing. I think a lot of people, when they see the price drop, they think like, oh man, something has changed, right? Something bad has changed that's causing everything to go down. No, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it has nothing to do with Bitcoin. It has everything to do with all the FUD that's around or the macro conditions, right? But when I talk about fundamentals, it's like stuff like this. Supply last active 2 to 3 years, still all-time high. And if I show a chart that's 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, right? They're all-time high. Addresses, all-time high, right? Number of Bitcoin wallet addresses holding 0.1 Bitcoin, 1 Bitcoin, 10 Bitcoin, 100 Bitcoin. They're all showing all-time highs, right? So fundamentally, nothing has changed for Bitcoin. And some argue that this is perfectly normal. This is actually according to plan. This has always been according to plan. So look at what happened in 2017. When you zoom out, you don't recognize these patterns. But when you zoom in, you realize, well, it has happened before, right? That's why I just got done saying we have seen worse. We have seen pretty much everything. In 2017, it's the same thing. Bitcoin was recovering at the beginning of the year, right? Or actually, I shouldn't say beginning of the year. It was more like middle of the year. Bitcoin was making good traction. Went up to 4,000, and then it fell down to 3,500. Then it went up to 5,000, and it dropped to almost half. It went from 5,100 and dropped to 3,000. Okay, I'm looking at the right side here. Okay, it went down almost half, and at that point, people called it quits. The naysayers like Peter Schiff came out and said, "It's done. It's done." And had you sold at that point, you would be kicking yourself hard, because right after Bitcoin fell down to that point, it went up, rallied and rallied and rallied and rallied and went up to 20,000 straight from 2,900, right? So again, we have seen these times before. If you live through it, it's bad. But afterwards, you forget about it. I don't remember that happened in 2017. I lived through that, but I don't remember what happened, right? So if you look at what happened right now, it's pretty similar. Pretty similar. So some argue that, you know what, we're just following. We're just going according to plan. And here's another one that's comparing our situation right now with the COVID crash, and COVID crash was bad. I remember those days too. I know most of you guys remember those days, how the market crashed badly. Bitcoin fell below 4,000, right? The entire market cap of crypto fell to nearly 100 billion, okay? And not only that, the U.S. market fell hard. I remember Dow having a negative 3,000 day. Okay, if you thought negative 500 was bad, imagine negative 3,000 per day, right? But what happened? We came back up and we formed a new high. We went all the way. You could argue we went all the way from 3,800 to 64,000. And that is why you don't leave. Because if you do, again, you'll be kicking yourself pretty hard, right? So we have seen times like this before, coming up from bottom, right? And according to this, we retest a trend line and then we go upward. So some argue this is perfectly normal, right? And I argue that, yeah, while things are low, you accumulate because Bitcoin is the way. Fundamentally, nothing has changed. Okay, Bitcoin is still the way and will recover and will form a new high as we approach the next halving event. Nothing is going to deviate Bitcoin from that. Okay, and even this, people are looking at whale activity, and guess what? Who's accumulating under $20,000? Of course, the whales. Of course, the big money, the smart money, the guys that want to really dominate the market and or make life-changing wealth and or attain financial freedom, however you want to call it, right? The people that are accumulating now, they're setting themselves up for greatness in the future, right? And that is exactly what the whales are doing. So, stay strong, my friends. Continue to DCA. You know, it's scary right now, and it could get scarier as the day goes on. I didn't even refresh what it is. Now it's starting to turn deep in the red, right? It could get worse, but Bitcoin has not changed and will continue to move forward and thrive. You just have to have patience and stay strong and continue to DCA.